On YouTube, this is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back. Behind me, I got a Nissan Altima 2003, and it's got the dreaded 2.5 in it. It came in with a P.S.I misfire, so I had Dez, my co-worker, Dez, the auto tech, check it out, and so he checked for spark, fuel. The basic checks on that single cylinder. It does have spark, it does have fuel. He went and compression tested it and seen that it had low compression compared to the other cylinders. And at that point, he came in and told me to take a look and see what I think about what's going on. So I decided to cut the camera on. Why not? This could get interesting. So let's finish checking it out. He already did his own compression check on it, but I'm going to start from scratch and check it all out again. Couldn't hurt. Of course, everybody knows these 2.5 Nissans have serious head gasket failures. There's some kind of flaw on these engines where you do a head job on them, they run great for like 4 or 5 months, and then the water starts getting back into the cylinder. So that's probably what's going on here. More than likely, that's what's happening, but let's check it out. So we're going to start by, he says number 1 has the lowest compression. So I'm going to actually start with number 4, and that way about the time we get over here, we can compare the lowest number to the other numbers. So we'll actually start backwards this time and check cylinder 4 first. I'm gonna actually coat this with a little bit of silicone paste so it don't get stuck down in there. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on there on the threads. A little bit of silicone paste, and that'll keep my compression gauge from getting stuck down inside the cylinder head. And wide open throttle. Go ahead, crank it, Des. Alright, so it looks like we about 110. Check it one more time. Crank it up, Des. Wide open throttle. Crank it up. Okay, so about 110. We got cylinder 4, 110. Let's move on down the line and see what kind of numbers this engine is putting out. I believe 110 is already somewhat low. I believe this motor, if you check with All Data or Identifix, I think it should be somewhere around like 150 for a healthy compression. All right, wide open throttle, crank it up, Des. Okay, so this one's just a little shy of 150. It looks like it's about 145. We'll do one more check, Wide open throttle, crank it up, Des. All right. So it's a little higher than 145, just right under 150. Oh, 148. All right, moving down the line. Alright, so cylinder number 2, wide open throttle, crank it up, Des. Alright, so this was about 150. the bad cylinder, the P0301. Let's see what this one's putting out. Wide open throttle, crank it up, Des. All right, see, we got 90 PSI. We'll crank it up again. See if it goes up any. Crank it up. So we're still at 90 on that. So that would explain the rough running engine and the misfire. This 90 PSI is really low. So that would explain the misfire. Well, let's do a little more digging. I'm basically just confirming what Des already told me. So looks like both of these are low, really. 110 is pretty low, one's pretty low. These two are probably where it should be. So I'm gonna put a little oil down these cylinders and see if we got a ring issue before I leak down test it. So let's do that. All right, we'll shoot a little oil in there. Yeah, I can tell you right now, just by looking down in there, it probably has a blown head gasket. Looks like the pistons are being steam cleaned in there. All right, let's see if the compression goes up on cylinder 1, because we're definitely losing compression. 90's too low. Let's see where it's going. All right, wide open throttle, crank it up. One more time. So it didn't really change too much. It maybe went up 1 or 2 PSI. So we're not dealing with a piston ring issue. So we can rule lost compression. Well, we can't necessarily rule it out yet. That's just sort of giving us an idea. A leak down test would be the best way in this scenario. Had the compression jumped way up to 150, I stop right there. I know for a fact there's got a piston ring leak. But just to jump up 1 or 2 degrees, likely it's not the piston rings. So next, let's leak down test it and find out where it's going. So I'm gonna go down there and get this cylinder on TDC, and we'll leak down test it. All right, so we got it on TDC, compression stroke. We verified that it is actually on the compression stroke and not on the exhaust stroke. That matters. To do a proper leak down test, it's gotta be on the compression stroke. Okay, so we got the leak down gauge in. The leak down hose. Let's get the gauge on. Let's get a little air in this bad boy. So it looks like we got at 80 pounds of pressure, 30% leakage. So now let's try to listen where that's going. Open up the radiator cap. So we got no bubbles coming out the radiator cap. No, doesn't seem like there's any air coming out of the air cap. It actually sounds like it's coming out of this cylinder. I think it may be going to the adjacent cylinder, but let me check the throttle body. Nothing coming out of the throttle body. It's really hard to tell. I know it's escaping because we got 30, but 30% leakage. So the cylinder's obviously leaking. The more pressure we put in it, the larger the leak becomes. So there's obviously a leak. So I'm gonna have to take it a step further in order to find out where this compression is going, because I just can't quite tell. I can't really hear it. Let me just go and check the exhaust really quick. Be right back. All right, nothing coming out of the tailpipe either. So let's take it a step further in our diagnosis to be able to figure out where it's going. Alright, so we got some smoke. We let a little bit of smoke build up here. Now we'll smoke the cylinder out, see exactly where that compression loss is going. Give it a minute here. Let the machine build up some smoke. There we go. Alright, let's smoke this bad boy out. See where it's coming from. And there it is. That confirms it. All the compression is going from cylinder 1 over to cylinder 2, which means what? Right, blown head gasket or cracked cylinder head. So we all know these 2.5 Nissans are known for this problem. So so much that I don't even really want to do a top end job on this. I'll probably just recommend low mileage replacement engine over doing a head job on this. If we can't get a low mileage replacement unit on this, I probably won't even bother with this job, because I've done one of these before and we did a great job on the head top end, and we got coolant coming back into the cylinder maybe like a year later, a little under a year. It only lasted the customer a little under a year. So we had did it in the summer, and then that next summer, just before summer hit, he brought it back in and noticed it was hard starting in the morning. And then so we pressure tested the radiator. We was able to see a little bit of coolant get inside. It was very minute. I stuck my inspection camera in there while I pressure tested the radiator, and I could see little small amounts of coolant getting in there. So if you have this vehicle and you have a blown head gasket issue on there, I'd actually recommend that you just get rid of the vehicle altogether. You know, I know that sounds a bit extreme, but you'll be doing yourself a favor, because you really can't fix these problems. There's a flaw in the top end. You could do the greatest job in the world, replace everything, brand new head bolts, you know, factory gasket, everything, and you'll still get a blown head gasket symptom, you know, 6 months to a year down the line. So I'm gonna recommend this customer to either get rid of the vehicle or let us find a low mileage unit to put in here and just scrap this motor altogether. So if they end up doing a job, we'll bring you along while we pull this motor out. This is Brian 916. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.